Hello, everybody. We are here with Cecil Gill. Cecil is going to be talking with me about the Veil Brewing Company out of Richmond, Virginia. Cecil.
This is your show, Melancholy Price. Thank you for having me yet again. The Veil. You've got a lot of cans there, which is fantastic. I sadly only have one because in Australia, we just have the one can from the Veil. And you have heaps because they're based out of Richmond, Virginia. How far is that from where you are in Nashville?
I'd say it's probably like somewhere between a 9 to 13 hour drive. So not super close, but not super far away. Probably fly. But we are lucky enough to be able to get beer shipped here from our good friend Dennis. We're also lucky enough to be able to order some beer, thinking about maybe getting some sent here via like a carrier service or something. But either way, there's not an ocean between me and the Veil like there is you. So I have much more access to beer from the Veil. I have 6 cans here and 2 that I have not drank yet.
Well, that's exciting. I just want to shout out the boys at Copper and Oak and also Black's Cellars for being the 2 people in this country that actually had a can of this. So nice work. See, I've heard a lot of good things about the Veil. I think Rate Beer had them as the 3rd best brewery in the world, which, because you're American, could just mean America, or it could actually mean the world.
We are a little egocentric, but can you blame us? Look at us.
I guess my question is, have you ever been to the brewery?
I have not, but I am definitely taking a trip there soon once all the travel stuff is more available to us and there's more going on. There was an issue at the Veil, which makes me a little bit less likely to go there now because I did get in trouble with the law, I understand.
Oh, what happened? Tell me.
It sounds like they had an opening or a new beer coming out, a new reveal, and there was so many crowds outside that they actually had to issue a public apology, and there was a big deal. But honestly, good for them. I would like to issue a public apology because too many dudes showed up at my house trying to get beer.
Wow. So they didn't get shut down or anything?
Doesn't sound good.
So the beer keeps getting made. That's pretty cool. Now,
no.
You have a big presence on Untapped, and I believe you actually found out about the Veil through a buddy of yours on Untapped, Dennis Breed.
Yes, Dennis. Dennis is a good buddy. I need to send him some beers soon because he has been blessing me with so many beers. I was going to say out of the ones that I have, they're all very berry smoothie, milkshake, heavier beers, stouts, But you actually have the access to an IPA.
I do have an IPA. That's very exciting. Okay, cool. Well, I listened to a fantastic podcast about Matt Tarpey, who is the brewer. And it sounds like a really cool guy, very down to earth. Didn't intend to be a brewer. I do recommend people go have a listen to that podcast. The interview is on a show that I listen to every now and then from Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine, our podcast. You'll be pleased to know that Drecker just recently appeared on their podcast, but we're not here to talk them. We're here to talk the Veil. Although they're kind of similar breweries, really, aren't they? I haven't tasted any Drecker, but you seem to have very fancy, dessert beers from them.
From the beers that I've had from Drecker and the beers here, one of my favorite Drecker beers is like a chocolate strawberry from the Chonk series. I would say a lot of these are reminiscent of that, and they have their own take on them, and they're equally as good, just in different ways. The Tasty series is a lot like that. A lot of these juicy, heavy flavor milkshake type beers. And
so one of the things that comes through with Matt Tarpey is that he's definitely had a lot of experience before he set up the Veil.
Yeah, it seems like he has a really good knack for getting unpaid internships.
Now, he worked up at New Hampshire and then for The Alchemist in Vermont. They have a beer that you've had called the Heady Banger that I haven't had. And then...
You should really have yourself a Heady Banger. Yes.
No. So many of these interviews with you are just, and reviews of beers are going to be me saying, gee, I wish I could have had something you've had, which in and of itself is not an interesting format. Luckily, you're here.
But a popular comment, a lot of people wish they could have had what I had at several points.
Fair. Okay. So I heard, Melancholy, that Tapi went ahead and did an internship at Cantillon in Belgium.
I have heard that. I heard that he actually did 3 internships at Cantillon in Belgium in 3 different stints. I've heard that he's really into spontaneous combustion.
Fermentation.
And spontaneous, that too. Fermentation. It's a secret. We don't tell people that. He's into spontaneous fermentation, and as we know, the Belgians are best at that. And he couldn't get what he wanted in his hometown, so he learned from the best and then took it back and started making his own beer so that he could drink what he wanted. And honestly, I like his thought process when I'm thinking about doing that with lovers. If I can't find the lover I want, I could just learn and create one somehow. So it's an idea. I have to talk to Matt about it.
But you never have trouble finding lovers. Moving along. What I heard on the podcast is that Virginia, not known once upon a time as being the hotbed of beer, a guy that he knew went ahead and sent him some beer when he was working, I think, for the Alchemists, and said, what do you think of this beer from Richmond? And, you know, Matt didn't want to lie, and he said, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not bad. And this guy that sent it to him sort of said, well, I think they should be making better beers here. Matt said, yeah, I guess they should. And he goes, maybe you should do it. And he goes, I don't know about that. And one thing led to another conversation-wise, and the guy that sent him the beer was now his business partner.
You know, when brewers are in town near other brewers, it's almost like they need a brewer grinder, because they just are always DTB. They're always looking for other brewers, being like, hey, you up? Let's make a new beer. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'm up. Let's go make some beer together. And they just meet up all the time. Like, I feel like all the time, there's all these brewers that are doing collabs. It's really becoming pretty, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. You know, I'm all about like some brewer rights, but you know, sometimes they could just fit in their own breweries. It might be interesting.
What does DTB stand for?
Down to brew.
Oh, right, okay. Brewers' rights. Is there non-consensual collaborations?
No. I'm just saying I support their decision to brew as freely as they do. It just is also a little bit much at the same time. But I, again, support that creative freedom of theirs.
I mean, if there are non-consensual collaborations, we should probably talk about that. It's 2020. We should be free to talk about when one brewer brews with another brewer and they didn't communicate properly, and next thing you know, it's a brew